All right. So we are all set. So hi everyone. Welcome to the day 5 of our session. I hope all of you must have seen the SOAP UI, opened the SOAP UI. I had uploaded the relevant project and documents in shared folder in Google. So I hope you all have seen that. If you have not seen, that's also fine. Okay, I will tell you again from the scratch. So without wasting any further time, I will share my screen and I will start the session. So can anyone confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So Priya has raised the hand. Priya, do you want to say something?
No, Salis. Unfortunately, it's clicked on that button. I will let you know if I need something.
Okay, no, you had raised the hand. That's why I asked.
Sorry for that.
Okay, no problem, no problem. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so yesterday I told you how to import the definition in SOAP UI, right? There is some technical issue. Let me stop the sharing once and I will share it again. Okay. Yeah, so we are all set. Okay. So SOAP UI project creation. So the last day I told you how to create a project in SOAP UI and how to create your first project with the help of URI. Okay. I expected one question from all of you that what is URI, but no one asked. Okay. So I will tell you WhatsApp group link. What is WhatsApp group link? Someone is pinging WhatsApp group link. Please don't ping anything. Okay. It unnecessarily disturbs me while doing the session. Okay. So please don't ping me unless it is necessary. Okay. Unless it is very important. So what is URI? So I will open SOAP UI again. Okay. So close all these things. So when you click on REST, okay. So this is the SOAP UI interface for you. When you open SOAP UI, these things will not appear because these are the projects which I have created. So if you have not created any project, this will not appear here. So if you have to create any REST API test project, you have to click on this REST, okay? Similarly, if you have to create any SOAP project, you have to click on SOAP. But in this course, we are covering only REST APIs, okay? So click on REST. So when you click on REST, it asks for one URI, right? URI. And it also gives you an option to import WADL. Okay, so we are not learning WADL because it is very simple. It is a ready-made file. You can import it, but you will not learn anything if you will import it directly. Okay, so we will use URI method. So what is URI? Anyone knows what is URI? URL you must have heard, right? So see, this is the abbreviation for URI, Universal Resource Identifier. Okay, then what is URL? URL is Uniform Resource Locator. Okay, URL is nothing but any address, any web address. www.facebook.com is an URL. www.google.com is an URL. Okay, any network address is URL. Okay, so the APIs are deployed on in a server, right? So server has one URL like www.google.com. But if you will go to www.google.com, will you be able to see your API? No, right? For that, you need to know the address of the API. Suppose I am living in Brampton right now. Anyone from you from any other location, Mississauga, Toronto, anywhere else? I need one volunteer, okay? Anyone from Mississauga?
Yes, I'm from Mississauga.
Okay. So suppose you invite me for some function in your house, okay? Some house party or some card game party, okay? So if you will tell me that I live in Mississauga, will I be able to reach your house?
No, because Mississauga
No,
is...
right? So Mississauga is the URL, okay? Suppose you are an API. So you are in Mississauga. So Mississauga is the URL, okay?
Yeah.
But to reach your house, I need some specific detail, right? Whether you live near Aaron Mills or Derry Road, right? Somewhere, right? In Mississauga, correct? your house number, your lane number, right? Something I need, right? So
Exactly.
that thing is known as URI, identifier, where you live. Okay. Can I get your name? I missed your name. What's your name?
Priya. Priya.
So Priya must be having some address, right? With that address, I will be able to identify where Priya lives in Mississauga,
True.
right? So that is true in case of API also. API also needs one identifier to locate, okay, in
Yes.
the entire server. In server, there will be many things, many APIs, right? So there will be one address which will uniquely identify that API, okay? So that address is known as
You
URI.
are.
So we were seeing this all the time when we were discussing Swagger. So let me open Swagger. So when we were discussing Swagger, so what was this? This was the URI, right? Right now, everything is deployed in my local system. So the URL was localhost. You remember? Localhost. Let me open the first project which we created yesterday, means the day before yesterday. In this was the URL. Okay, this is the server location. Unfortunately, I don't have any real server, so I'm using my local host. Local host means my local system from which I'm taking this session. Okay, so this is the server address. And on this server, if I have to reach the API, I need this URI, right? That is what we got in Swagger Hub. I have created one customer API. Inside that, I have two operations, right? To reach this operation, I need the unique identifier, right? So I have customer version number one and this information. So this complete thing makes URI, okay, including the method, get method, okay. Now we have URL, we have URI, right? And we have query parameters and header template parameter and header parameter. Yesterday, the day before yesterday, I had covered till here, right? So now the project is created, first project, and we have provided the URI. So it automatically created this resource for you, a sample resource API interface for you. This is nothing but a interface of the service, right? To interact with the service, you need this interface where we are sending the request, we are sending the to this URL, right? Because we don't have the front end to click anywhere to get these informations. So we need some interface to interact with the service, customer service. Okay, all right. So now what we will do? We have to create one test, right? Test cases, right? We have to test this API. So how to test it in SOAP UI? So SOAP UI have one hierarchy, okay? So the first level is project, which we have already created, right? The name of our project is first project, right? After that, API definition. API definition we have already added with the help of URI, correct? This is all the definition, right? Now, the third level is test suite. What is test suite? So collection of test cases grouped for test execution is test suite. So now what we will do, we will create one test suite. So right click on the project, and if you will go down, you will see new test suite, right? Click on it. You can give it any name. So right now we are testing get customer info, right? So we will give TS stands for test suite underscore get customer info. Okay. Now our test suite got created, right? So you must be seeing the icons, right? See here, this icon, two arrows in opposite direction, blue color. This is your WADL, okay? This is your WADL created by SOAP UI based on your URI. There's four squares, right? This signifies your test suite, okay? Now this test suite is empty, nothing is there. So next hierarchy in our project is test cases, test case, right? So test case is a collection of test steps assembled to test some specific functionality. So let's add one test case. So right click on test suite now and add new test case, right? So suppose right now we are creating manual test cases. So we will give it a name, manual test cases. You can give any name, okay, based on the requirement of your project. So now close this window and see what all are created. So let's minimize the WADL and see. Now we can expand the test suite. Sorry. So now we can expand the test suite, manual test cases. So you can see when we added manual test cases, three things got created here: load test 0, security test 0, and test steps 0. So we are not learning any performance testing or security test as of now. Okay, we are testing functional test, and there are no test steps in under that. So now right click on test steps and add a step. What we have to test? What should I select from this list? Can anyone tell?
REST.
Yes, we have to test the REST request, right? So as soon as you click on this REST request, it will ask you to name it. So for now, we will name it as TC001 underscore success underscore case 01. Any name you can give, okay? So for now, I am giving this name. So immediately it will ask you to attach it to any definition, right? You have already definition in place in this project. So we have already added mobile number, consumer number, right? Everything in the definition. So we will readily use that. Just select the sample request one and see your test case got added and everything it has read from the definition and it created a sample request for you. Okay. Now, yesterday we discussed about our test cases, right? I had shared one Excel file as well where we had written 2 sample test cases. So now we will see it in more detail. So this was our test cases. So I have written for you all the test cases now. So we will go through it one by one. So first, when on the day one, we had created the use cases, which we have to test. So let me increase the font so that you all can read, right? So we have written use cases like validate if we are able to fetch basic customer info with 10-digit valid mobile number or not, right? And we have another column, test case associated. So for this use case, we have to write test cases, right? And those test cases must be having some test case ID. So we have to maintain this, that which use cases got covered by which test case, okay? This way we will have one mapping. And when you will have a big document like this, you can call it as RTM, Requirement Traceability Matrix. This was the requirement, and this requirement is tested by these test cases. So it will become Requirement Traceability Matrix, RTM. So validate that DOB is not having date and it should only have month and year. Okay, this is our second use case. Third case, validate if only authorized consumer can query the customer info. Means we have to pass a valid consumer ID, right? Validate all error codes implemented or not. Okay, so these were the use cases which we wrote, okay, on the day one. And when we wrote these use cases, we thought about the test cases as well, okay, how to test these use cases. So now we went to test cases and we wrote test case one, success case one. So we have written scenario to validate the basic customer info is received when a valid mobile number is passed. Okay, prerequisites we have written, right? We must be having a valid consumer ID because consumer ID is needed for provider to respond. It will only respond to the authorized consumers, right? What we are pretending to be? We are pretending to be a consumer, right? SOAP UI is helping us to become a consumer. So instead of the request coming from help desk front end, we are sending it from the SOAP UI. So we are pretending to be a help desk front end team. Okay. And we are able to do so because of the SOAP UI interface, this API interface. So now we need one test data. So this is our test data. Expected response is 200 OK. Okay. What is 200 OK? I will tell you. And the basic customer info in agreed format. Okay. So now when we will test it, we will have the actual response. And based on that, we will pass or fail this thing. Okay. These things are not needed now. So based on that, we will fail or pass the test cases. If it fails, we will capture the test failure reason and we will raise a defect accordingly. Okay. So now let's test it. First, I will show you how to test it manually. So test case 1. Okay. So what is the prerequisite of this? We must be having a valid consumer ID. Okay. So we'll go to SOAP UI. Now I have one valid consumer ID. This I have received from some other team that this is a valid consumer ID which you can use. Okay. So I will use this and I will pass a valid customer ID. So this test data, you have to get it from some team or from some database. Unfortunately, I don't have access of any database right now. Nothing is free of cost. So that's why I was not able to create a table to show you. Okay. So in some format, in Excel format, in database, in mainframe, or some other team will get you these details. Okay. You have to ask for these details. You can contact your Scrum Master if you don't have these details, that from where I will get the consumer ID, which team to contact for the mobile number, right? Which database to, or you can ask your developer as well, because developer will also be calling these databases, right? So you have to consult your developer. If he don't have any data, you have to go to your test lead, development lead. If he also does not provide that data, you can reach out to your Scrum Master. Scrum Master is always there to facilitate everything. Okay. So let's test it. Okay. So this is a valid customer number for my API and let's run it now. Let's see. So when we click triggered this, we have got a response. So response has two parts. Okay. This is the response body and response header. So you have to see the complete request response. You have to go to raw. Okay. You can see that XML, JSON, HTML, and raw. So our REST API is receiving and responding the data in JSON format. Okay. If needed, developer can configure it in XML also, but JSON is the most popular one. Okay. People usually don't use XML because XML becomes complex. Okay. With the size. So most popular is JSON. JSON is nothing. I have told you already. Java, a script object notation. Okay. So this is a JSON format. Okay. This is very simple to understand. Mobile number, colon mark, its value. Name, value. Name, value. Okay. Give me a moment, guys. Someone is knocking at my door. Give me a moment. Sorry, guys. Someone was knocking at my door, so that's why I put myself on mute. I'm sharing my screen again. Okay. So see, name, value, right? It is very simple to understand. Email ID, what is the email ID? Remarks, this is the remarks, right? But it has headers also. If you'll go to raw, you will see the header values. These are the headers received with the response, right? The content type is application JSON. Okay. So that's why you are seeing the response in JSON format. If it will be application XML, it will come in XML format. If it is application HTML, it will come in HTML format. But as per the agreement, provider is sending the response in application JSON format. And that's why you are able to see the response in JSON. We have talked about the contract, right? In the Swagger, we have saw the contract. In contract, they have mentioned that they will respond in JSON format, right? So now we have to validate this thing 200 OK, and everything was there, right? If you will go to the Swagger Hub, you will see that for the positive response, 200 was the expected code, correct? And this was the body. So now we will validate the response. Okay. So 200 has been received, means We are good from headers perspective. Now we will go to JSON and we will validate mobile number. So mobile number should be the same thing which we have passed, right? It should be same thing, right? Then it should have a customer ID, and customer ID should be matching the backend data, right? So I told you that you have to consult some other team for the test data. So they will provide you this data that this thing is in the database. So you have to match with that data, whether it is matching or not. That customer ID is correctly fetching from the database or not. Then the full name of the customer. Now here is the catch. DOB you have received, but what was the requirement? What was the requirement? Anyone
It was
remember?
month, year,
It's
year.
it's a month and year only.
Month and year.
Let's open the Jira for people who don't remember. In the acceptance criteria, it was highlighted that help desk should not be able to see date of birth and DOB should be in format of month hyphen YYYY format. So you have got your first defect, right? Deviation from requirement is defect, right? Now we will capture it. We will capture it. So what we will do is we will go to the raw, copy the entire response and paste it in your test case sheet. It can be anything, okay? Excel sheet, some other tool, okay? Jira, X-ray plugin, anything. Wherever you are maintaining, you have to capture the entire response, okay? And based on this, what is your test result? It passed or failed?
Failed.
It failed, right? What is the test failure reason?
Date of birth.
So DOB
Okay.
is not coming in agreed format, right? Now you have to log one defect. How to log a defect? Where you will log the defect? Jira. Jira is your project management tool, right?
Yes.
So you will go to Jira. You will open the user story which you are testing right now, okay? So this is the user story you are testing, right? So you will go here, you will create a child issue, right? Create a child issue. And give me a moment. This is a free version of Jira, so I don't know whether they give the option to create a defect directly or not, but let me see, okay? Let me see. So no, they are not giving option to create a defect directly. So what you can do is you can directly create one child issue, okay? And you can write your description, okay? Like defect DOB is not received in agreed format, okay? So this issue got created. Create. Now open this and give the description, okay? Give the description. Let me see if we can change the type of the issue or not. This is a free version of Jira, so we can do very limited things, okay? So you can create one label here like defect. Okay, so there are no defects created as defects. Labels are not there. So in actual Jira, in enterprise Jira, okay, while creating the issue, you will get one option to select task or defect, okay? So you can select it as defect. Right now in this free version, they don't have that option, so I cannot do anything, okay? So now give the description, okay? What is this defect? Because you will assign it to the developer. Developer should be understanding what is the defect. Yes, anyone is asking something?
Yes, Jira is for us for practice purpose. Jira is not available. So can we use some other tools like QTP?
QTP is also a tool, right? In QTP, you can maintain your test cases, defect, everything. So whatever is the tool, you can use that, okay? But it will have different formats.
Okay.
So it all depends on how your team is managing the work. Jira is just a project management tool.
Yeah, no,
And
just
it is the
just
most
for learning purpose, if we can use something else.
anything. So Jira is also free. You can go and create your profile. Okay. But you won't be able to see the user stories created by me. You have to create your sample user stories, defects, everything. You can practice Jira for 14 days. It is free.
Okay.
Okay. So now, what was the scenario? What was the scenario? Can anyone tell what should I write in the scenario so that developer will be able to understand?
That the date of birth is in incorrect format.
Yeah. So like sent request with valid mobile number and consumer ID. You have sent everything correctly, right? What was the expected response? 200. Okay. With customer info and DOB in YYYY format. This was the expected response. What is the actual response you received? DOB in format GD YYYY format.
What
Right?
is 200 okay?
200 is the HTTP status code. Okay. On the internet also, when you send some data, right? I don't know whether I will be able to replicate this or not, but I will try to show you what it is. Okay.
Okay.
So you type anything, ds.com, right?
Mm-hmm.
So right now, for everything, some response comes. Okay. So I don't know what to show. XTG, anything, right? Control Enter. Yes. So see, you have got this site cannot be opened, right? So
Yes.
if you open this, inspect the page, okay? Or page view source, okay? I'm not sure whether it will show anything or not.
Mm-hmm.
Let me try. Yes. So you will see 404 not found, okay, for this.
Mm,
Where to show it? It is not showing up here. But when you try to access internet, any website or anything, okay,
okay.
right? When you input wrong password, okay, anywhere,
Mm-hmm.
let me open something which needs password, like yahoo.com, right? So it needs password. So if
Mm-hmm.
I will say anything wrong, right? And I click on next, and if I'll pass anything again which does not exist, it will throw an error, invalid password, please try again, right?
Yeah.
So the system, so what it did, the front end sent your data to the back end, right?
Yes.
Backend validated whether it exists or not. It responded with one code and one error, right?
Yeah.
So error is this, and with the code, the Yahoo frontend identified, okay, this request failed. Okay.
Mm.
That is the HTTP header. By seeing the header itself, you will come to know whether my request passed or failed. Okay.
Okay.
If failed, right, then you will not process it much. You will just extract whatever is needed. If passed, then only you will try to extract the response.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah.
To improve the processing time, it helps. And it
Okay.
is a standard, okay? HTTP standard. When you send any HTTP request, it will have one header, HTTP status code in the response.
All right.
Okay. So
Okay.
now go back to Jira. We have to increase the speed of this course because we have only one day left after this, right? So see, actual response received is this. Now, what you will do is developer will not come back to you that what data you have used, what response you have received, right? So you will give request used. Request used, what you will say, send? You will not send mobile number and consumer ID. You will go to raw, okay, in the request side in SOAP UI. If you will go to raw, you will get the entire request with header and everything. Just copy it and paste it in request used. it will tell him the URI, the method, okay, and complete thing, consumer ID and mobile number went in the path itself, right? See. So developer will be able to replicate this without reaching out to you for further information. And what response you have received? Again, in response also always use the raw format, okay, if it is not very big. If it is very big, keep it in one notepad, save it as a notepad and attach it, okay, if it is very big. Don't copy paste. So this is the complete information, right? So in this Jira, they don't have any other field to update. So you can write and environment also, okay, environment. So we are testing in SIT, right? I told you system integration testing environment. So you may be testing in two environments also, okay? That after SIT, you may be testing in QA environment also, production environment also, right? So developers should be aware that in which environment you have tested. Anyway, he will come to know with this URI that in which environment you have tested, because you will have the endpoint URL, right? Server address, but still explicitly mention and save it, okay? And you have to assign it to the developer. So suppose Rasmi is the developer, I assigned it to Rasmi. So now Rasmi has got one notification that one task has been assigned to you. Unfortunately, in free version, we cannot make it a defect. It is only reflecting as a subtask. So she will get a notification that one subtask got assigned to you. If you will change the type to defect, she will get a notification that one defect has been logged on your name. Okay. No need to call her or send one email, right? Rasmi will get the notification in Jira itself through email also. And the entire team will come to know that one defect has been logged, right? So one defect found and logged. Okay, you can see the defect is reflecting here, assigned to Rashmi, and the status is to do. She has not yet started working on fixing this defect, right? So if she is not picking it up, okay, and you're not getting a further information, you can tag Rasmi again in comment. Can you please update on a status of defect? And you can mention the defect ID as well, okay? In free version, many less things works, okay? So I don't know how to show it. So you can directly copy the link and paste it here, okay? And you can save it. If you want to tag someone else, your Scrum Master, your product owner, your lead developer, you can do everything here. Just type @ and it will show all the users in your Scrum board, okay, Scrum team. You can assign it to anyone who is there in the Jira. Right now, I have created only 2 profiles, so this is showing only 2 profiles. If you want product owner to know about this, okay, developer is not picking it up, he is not fixing it in the right time, you can tag people, highlight it, that these things are not getting fixed, okay? This is how you log a defect. Next. So one test case we executed and it failed, right? So second test case, again, case 2 of success, okay? So we have another test data also, okay? So we will not pass anything based on one test data itself, right? We will test with 2-3 set of data at least. So right now we have 2 mobile numbers, so we will test with another one also. Again, the expected is same, and we will test it with this data and we will see. So we will go to Ready API, we will create another test case, right? So one test case created, TC001, success case 1. Now we have to create TC002. So right click on already created test case and you will get an option clone test step. Okay. You can insert a step again, you can rename it and you can do all the things again, but this is a shortcut. Okay. So clone test step. So we cloned, it asks us to rename it. Okay. So we will give name TC002 success case 02. Okay. So this test case 2 got created. Now we will change the test data as per the test case. The test data says use this test data. So we will use that. And we have only one consumer ID. So we have to keep using that. Okay. We will again trigger it. And we will see still the same error, right? It may be possible that the error is for only one data, but we tested with two data and still that error is there. Okay. Still that error is there. So again, we will copy paste the response. The actual response. We will fail this test case as well. And again, the same issue is there. And see here, defect ID you have to update. We forgot that, right? So there was a Jira ID, right? MA18. So either you can write MA-18 or you can copy the entire address and you can paste it here. Okay. So that if you will share it with anyone, they can easily open from here itself. Okay. Now again, will we log another defect for this? No, this is the same defect with this another test data. So what you can do is you can go to Jira, open the same defect, and in the comment, open this, and in the comment, also happening for mobile number this, right? So now developer will be having two data to analyze it, right? He has to do the RCA, root cause analysis, that's why it is failing. So he may be needing more data, right? So you have provided. Unfortunately, I have configured only two mobile number, so we can test only two positive test cases, okay? Now, negative test cases with non-existing mobile number, right? So what we will do is, we will do any random number, right? So, right, this number I have given, which does not exist in the system. Okay, so for our telecommunication provider, this number does not exist. So what we will do first, we will create test case 3. So again, we will clone the test step and we will write TC003 underscore non-existing number. It is for your identification purpose. You can keep any name. Okay, there is no standard as such. You can keep any name, but I am trying to keep the same name which we have in our Excel test cases. Okay, the names can be different also. Okay, so now here what I will do is, let me close the previously. So here you can see TC1 is open, right? So let me close all those things and open TC3 now. So at the top you will be able to see which request is open. Okay, so now let's use the test data which we have in our Excel sheet. This is an invalid customer ID which does not exist in the provider and system. So we will click like this and we will see that result, source, error details, code and description has been received or not. So we will go to Swagger. We will see what was the expected error code 404. Okay, 400, bad request, right? So all these things you will receive in one user guide also, this thing, error code and error details, okay? Developer will provide you, or lead developer will provide you all the standard error codes. Unfortunately, I didn't get time to create that document for you, but just assume that this data you have in one Word format, Word document, okay? Any Word document will do. Here also you can create that. It will be in tabular format. You can insert one table here, okay? Like this. Error code, error description, HTTP status code associated. Like this, you will have one user guide where all the standard error codes will be mentioned, okay? And you will receive it before a start of your testing itself. In this format, you will be having the user guide. All the error codes and everything will be mentioned here. So while validating the error code and description, you have to refer that user guide and Swagger Hub both. Okay, whether the format is correct, you have to validate against Swagger Hub. whether the data is correct, you have to validate against the user guide. Okay, so this looks good. So it passed, right? Everything looks good. You have to validate whether backend error was expected or not. I told you, right? So you have to go here. You have to go here. So now go to 400, okay? And see, here is the schema for that. So just jump to 400 and it will show you the result should have either of these three values: gateway error, backend error, or authorization error. We have backend error. It is in the list. It is fine. It is good. Source, it should have any of these three values only. We have FWIC API gateway, FWIC API gateway. So that is also fine, right? Code and description. Code and description, they have not mentioned anything. Only they have given maximum length should be 7 and description max length is 250. So you need to validate this. Okay. So our MOB 1001 is exactly 7 digits. So it is fine, 7 characters. So it is fine. And it is well within 250. So this is also fine. So our test case passed. Okay. We will copy the raw response, paste it here, and our test case passed. Okay. Our test case passed. So no failure reason. So you can mention NA, right? And here at the top, I forgot to mention, you can copy this and the same defect you can paste it here, okay? Because both the test cases failed and the same defect has been logged for both of those. So one test case passed. Similarly, you have to create test cases for all the negative scenarios. So I will again attach this Excel sheet in Google Drive, okay? And you can have a look what test cases I have written. And I will share you this project also, which we are updating right now, so that you can create rest of the test cases here, okay? So in the same way I have created, but now how to provide a basic automation, okay? Basic automation. So test case 1, okay? We will open it. So basic assertion without any scripting you can attach to this test case. Where we have to go is assertions. Can you see this? Assertions. You can open this assertion, okay? And you can add. So these many assertions are readily available in SOAP UI. We will go to compliance, status, and standard, and we will mention the valid HTTPS status code. What is the valid HTTPS status code for the positive scenarios?
200.
200.
Okay.
Suppose it is 100. Okay, I provided 100. So see, the test case failed because what we received was 200, right?
Yes.
The color became red. Red means failed. So let's fix it. So our expected thing was 200. So we will mention 200. So see, the status changed to green, right? Similarly, there are many other assertions available. If you'll go to assertions, click on plus sign, you can see contains, okay, property content. So you can validate against a schema also if you have Swagger, or what I can do is you can write a script as well, okay? You can write a script as well, a script assertion. So if you want to see whether the DOB is in correct format or not, you have to write one regular expression, but I am not covering it right now. Otherwise you all will become scared, okay? I will involve a scripting, I will pitch it at the right time, okay? So don't worry about this. So one basic assertion I have added. You can go here and see what all other assertions are possible, okay? So like contains, add, right? So contains, let's pass mobile now. Let's see whether it works or not. So ignore case in comparison. If you want to be a strict match, okay, you should not check this, okay? If you want to use any regular expression, you can use it. Mobile number. So it has mobile number, so that's why it passed, right? So like mobile number 1, if I'll pass, what will happen? It failed. See, because mobile number 1 is not there in the response. Correct?
Yes.
So like this, you can pass. Now see whether comma separated works or not. Okay, so mobile number we have given. Now customer ID. Do some hit and trial method. Okay, try many things. You will learn. So see, comma separated didn't work. It is still failing. So what we have to do is we have to remove the customer ID, keep it only for mobile number. Again, add one more for customer number. Okay, customer ID. You can add one more for full name, one more for DOB, right? So it is just checking whether mobile number is there in the response or not. Customer ID is there in the response or not. It is not validating the value. Okay. For value validation, you have to write a script, a small script. Okay, not a big one. So like this, you can add many assertions. So next time when you will run it or anyone else will run it, he need not to see what is there in Jira. What was the requirement? With the status of this test case only, they will come to know whether the test case passed or failed. Right?
Okay.
This will become your regression suite for the next time. Suppose next time after 2 months, the same service comes for some enhancement. So you will be supposed to run the regression suite, whether the existing implementation is breaking or not with the new implementation. So you need to run it. Again, you need not to go back to Jira and see what was the requirement that time, right? You have to create the test cases in such a way that it can be used in future as well for the validations. So we will write all the assertions here while creating the test script itself so that it can be reused. We corporate don't like to invest money and time for the same thing again and again, right? They don't want rework. Okay. So same way, you have to add assertions. So we cloned it earlier, so that's why the same assertions are not reflecting here. Otherwise, if you will do it in the first one and clone it, the same assertions will also carry forward to the cloned ones, okay? So same way you can add. Now this one, third one. Here, if I will add 200 again, this is a negative case. And suppose, so for this, we can add invalid HTTP status code. So for this, we should not receive 200, right? We should not receive 200. It is passing, right? Because this is a negative test case. The expected is 400, 4, right? 404.
Yes.
Right? So we have given not invalid HTTP code we have defined, and this accepts comma separated. Okay, so it should not be 200, it should not be 400, it should not be 401. Okay, or it should not be 500, it should be 404. Right? See, it is still passing. Now let's add a valid one, valid HTTP status code. Suppose I mention 403. It will fail, right? See, the status failed.
Yes.
For making it work, we have to give the right status code, right? 404. See, it passed. Because what you were expecting, that is what you have received. Same way, you can write your test cases, create your test cases here in SOAP UI with the help of the Excel sheet, which I have already created for you guys, okay? Maintain this, okay? And learn it, okay? How to create a test case. Now, this is the basic test case, right? Manual test case. I don't want to spend much time on this. Last 10 minutes of the session, I will tell you a basic automation, okay? A basic automation. Don't get scared, okay? If you're not understanding, it is fine. The last day will be completely for automation. Don't worry. I will just give you an overview. Today, what we have learned to create test suite, add test case, add test step, how to create the manual test cases in SOAP UI. If you find a defect, how to execute test cases. If you find defect, how to log it in Jira. Okay. Now, how to automate it. So manually you have done, right? Now, suppose you want your SOAP UI to accept value on its own from SOAP UI. Okay. You need not to pass it manually. What you have to do? You have to parameterize the test cases, right? To read from Excel sheet. For that, in SOAP UI, you need a scripting. If you have the licensed version, you don't need a scripting for that. But in SOAP UI, you need a scripting, a very basic scripting. So how to do that? Let's create one more test suite, okay? In the project, we'll go to project, we'll add one more test suite, okay? And we will name it as, or leave it. Inside the same test suite, get customer info, we will add one more test case. And we'll name it as automated test cases. So what I'm going to cover now is data-driven testing, okay? Data-driven testing. So in automated test case, first of all, what I will do, I need the same step, right? What we have used here. So I will again right click, I will clone. I will give it a name, scenario for now, scenario, because we are going to execute many scenarios in the same test step, okay? We will not be having different test steps in automation. Only the data will keep on changing with the help of Excel sheet. So now the target test suite is same, but the target test case is automated test case. We are copying into automated test case, right? Click on OK. So see, it got cloned here inside the automated test case also, right? Let me minimize all the other things. This scenario got created. Let's open it. So to open, right? Now we have to automate it, delete all the data which we have fed it manually, okay? Now how to automate it? We need one Excel sheet. So I have created one Excel sheet. So I have created one folder for you, okay? This folder is demo. Inside demo, I have created one basic project, right? SOA project. And inside that demo folder, I have created another subfolder data. Inside data, I have another subfolder with the name of environment, that is SIT. Inside SIT, I have a data source. This is nothing but an Excel sheet, okay? And we have all the data here. Same test cases, which we have created manually. All the things are here. Now we have mobile number and consumer ID both because we have to pass from Excel sheet. We have expected HTTP status code also to validate whether what we have received is matching the expected or not, okay? With the help of Excel sheet. We have customer ID as well, what you are going to receive in Excel response, okay? You have DOB as well. And for negative scenarios, you have error code and description, expected things, okay? Expected things, these things are expected, okay? Now, how to automate it, okay? So you need very basic things, okay, for this. Don't get scared. I will share all these informations. So the code which I will cover in this course, okay, if you don't know any programming language, okay, it is just 20-30 lines of code. Save it somewhere, okay? And trust me, you will not need much more than that in your entire career, okay? Just few things. As you grow, you will learn a lot of things doing around those scripts only, okay? But to start with, you will not need any more scripting than that, okay? So I will show you how much scripting you will be needing, okay? So this is the script which I have already created for you, okay? So see, this is the, so right now it is showing 114 lines, but a lot of comments are there, okay? These are useless things. Just for your understanding purpose, I have given a lot of comments, okay? So don't, and these are nothing but the variable created, okay? So I will explain one by one. So we are going to use the Groovy language, Groovy, okay? Groovy scripting. Groovy scripting. For what? For reading the data from Excel sheet, for writing the data into Excel sheet, okay? For doing the assertion against the data source, like customer ID received in the response, we have to validate against what is there in the Excel. How you will validate, compare both. So everything we will use this Groovy language, okay? To read the file, to write into the file, to do the comparisons, okay? And do the iteration, okay? Iteration. What is iteration? In manual, we were having separate test cases for each scenario. In automation, we have only one test step. So you have to iterate this test step with the test data in your Excel sheet. So your cursor should keep on moving from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 automatically. Okay. So first it will execute the test case number 1. Right. And once the execution is done, it should move to 2, it will execute 2, and it will keep on executing till it reaches the end of the file. Okay, how to do that? So Groovy has few libraries, okay, few classes defined already. So what we will do in our first project, right? In our first project, we have created a test suite. In test suite, we have created manual test cases, and now we have automated test cases. We have already cloned this scenario, okay, or created this scenario. Now again, we will go to scenario or test step, right click on it, add a step. Which step you will use for scripting? Groovy script, right? So add Groovy script. Give it a name, okay? Give any name, okay? Like data source. We are going to read from data source. Give it any name, okay? And move it before the test scenario, because you will be needing this data to in the scenario step, right? So it should execute before scenario. Now open this. Let me copy this thing in Notepad++ before we go there. Okay. Now let me go back to SOAP UI. Let me close this Groovy, which I have already created. Close all the windows, and we will go to our group data source Groovy script now. Open this only. Okay. So you have to import few things. Okay. For the saving the time, I will just copy paste. Okay. I will give you all the scripts. Okay. Don't worry. So what we are doing here is we are importing the Groovy utils. So this is a class already created, okay, by some developers, and it is kept at some location. Okay. So when you install SOAP UI, all those jars, okay, jar files are already imported in your system with the SOAP UI, okay? They have the Groovy jars. So in those jars, the functionality is already there. You just need to import it. So we imported. Same way, if you have to read or write from Excel sheet, you need this JXL, okay, class. And for that, you must be having JXL jar in your SOAP UI. So SOAP UI readily provides this in their installation itself, okay? You need not to worry about that. So you have to import this JXL, okay? Then for writing the file, jxl.write, okay? This dot asterisk means everything inside JXL we are importing, okay? For writing also, for writing all the functions we are importing here. Now we have to read the JSON file also, right? In the response, in this response you will get in which format? In JSON format, right? In this, which format you are receiving the response? JSON format. So for validation purpose, whether the mobile number is same or not, you have to read this JSON also. And you have to read the Excel also. And then you have to compare, right? So for reading the JSON, you need a JSON slurper, okay, inside Groovy only. So you are importing this as well. I also don't remember all these things. I keep on copy pasting after 12 years of my career also. So don't worry about that, okay? You just need to have it with you in some notepad or somewhere, okay? Or if you will Google it also, you will get it, okay? This thing, leave it for now, hash map. When I will use it, I will explain what is this hash map, okay? So now, all the functionalities imported. What I will do now, I will create a file instance, okay? What I will do in file instance? I have created one variable Groovy util, okay? And I am calling a new object from the class Groovy utils, okay? I'm creating one object, okay, of Groovy utils. Just remember it, okay? No need to try to understand. You just need it, okay? Then project directory. What is project directory? Where you have saved your project. So your project you have saved somewhere, right? This is the folder where we have saved our project. So this directory has some address, right? It is inside users, Sing, right? Then FWIC project, training, inside that demo, inside that the project is there. So it has some path. So we have to read the path of the file. So project directory, we are reading with the help of Groovy util object which we have created, and read this function is readily available in Groovy utils .project path. If you will use this function, it will get you the entire path of your project. Now, we are reading the environment, okay, in which environment we are executing our test case. So for now, we assume that we have created one properties in which environment we have a property called environment, okay. We have to create that property, okay, but for now, just assume that we already have this property. Now the data folder, right? So inside project directory, this is our project directory. Inside this directory, we have another folder, data. Again, another subfolder, SIT. And inside that, we have our data sheet from where we have to iterate our test case, correct? So we will create one data folder reference. So we went to project directory, we went to data folder. Inside that, another folder is there, environment, right? Environment. And then we are creating one file inside this script, okay? This is a ready-made class which we have imported with JXL. Now we are creating one object for this. We have given a name Excel file, and we are reading the Excel file from the location. From this data folder location, we are accessing this data source.xls, and it is creating one object for us with this file. So now you can use that Excel file in this script, okay? So we have already overshooted the time, I think. So another 2 minutes, and then we will close the call, and we will discuss about this in length in the next session, okay? This is script. So one more thing. So when the file is created, we have to create a workbook also, okay? To read from the sheets. So I will copy this, or let me copy the entire thing. So what we are doing is we are creating, the Excel file we have read, okay? In Excel file, have you seen the sheets? You can have multiple sheets, right? You can have multiple sheets, correct? You can see I'm creating multiple sheets here, right? So you have read a file, okay? But your system does not knows what kind of file it is, Excel file. So we have to tell our Groovy script that this is a workbook, okay? So we are calling workbook function. It is inside the JXL, okay? So we have imported JXL. We can directly use workbook.getWorkbook at this file location, okay? So it got the file workbook for you, okay? And with the help of same workbook, you have to read the sheet, input data sheet. What is the name of the sheet? Get customer info, right? So you can pass it, get customer info here. Get customer info. Okay, so it will read that sheet. Okay, so I'm stopping here itself. Okay, but I will share the entire script with you today in the Google Drive. Try to go through it. Okay, if you are not understanding anything, I have maintained. Means I have created in the most simple way. Okay, most simple way. You will not see any programming simpler than this. Okay. So you just go through it and try to understand what I am doing, okay? Def means defining, okay? We are just defining one variable here, okay? So just go through it, okay? I will upload it in that Google Drive. Don't worry, I have just given one overview to you today, okay, about automation. We will again start from point 0 in the next session about the automation. But today you must have understood how to create test steps in SOAP UI, how to test it, how to log defect, what to capture in defect, all these things, how to add basic assertions, right? Everyone understood these things at least, right? Can anyone confirm? Anyone?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks
I
for
would
confirming.
still need practice.
Yeah,
Shall
so I will upload everything. Okay, I will upload this first project for you. You open this, and I told you, right? You have to start this service first. Okay, this service is already there in the Google Drive, which I have shared with you all. Import this. You can go to this place, import, okay? First, go to Google Drive, save it in your system. So I will open the Google Drive also for you so that you can see what I have shared with you all. So see, this is the folder which I have shared with you, SOA resource, okay? If you open this SOA resource, inside this you have SOAP UI projects, right? So open the SOAP UI project. I will update it today with the latest one, okay? So you just need to download it, okay? Download it or save it somewhere, like download, okay? Download both of these, okay? In some location in your laptop, okay? And then open with SOAP UI. Go to SOAP UI and import from that location, that XML file, okay? Then the project will open in your system. Import both first project and services both, okay? And you have to start this services, okay? Once imported, you have to start this service. Right click on this waddle and right click and start minimized. Then only your test cases will work. Okay, guys, I will upload everything in the drive. Okay, now I have to close the session. Thanks everyone for joining. Okay,
Thank you.
sharing now, and let me
Thank you.
stop the recording as well. And then you can ask your question. Okay, let me stop the recording.